Hello guys, Ryan Roby here, mortgage broker from Home Loan Village. I want to share a story today to give you some extra confidence in dealing with me as a mortgage broker. There's millions of mortgage brokers around the country. 70% of home loans today are established via a mortgage broker, but I want to give you confidence to deal with me. So here's a recent example of a client experience that I've had and what the outcome was. So this is a first home buyer. Don't tune out if you're not a first home buyer because the philosophy applies to everybody. But this was a first home buyer, came to me as a single dad, has one child, and he looks after that child one night a week. Now, this first home buyer had done a little bit of research into what support systems were available to him, which probably most of you would as well. So he was aware that there was a first home guarantee available where he could buy his first home with as little as a 5% deposit. Now, in savings, this client saved up $22,000. So if we can allocate $20,000 towards a deposit, that would mean that with that 20 grand being 5%, that's a $400,000 purchase. So that's probably going to get him a one-bedroom unit somewhere in Sydney, and he's happy with that. That's how he wants to proceed. So that's cool. But as soon as he starts telling me the story, I knew that within this first home guarantee, there's a little offshoot of it called a family home guarantee. Really stupid name, because what it actually is a separate support system that provides an even further level of support to single parents. I would call it the single parent guarantee, but anyway, they call it the family home guarantee. Now, this enables a single parent to buy their first home with as little as a 2% deposit. Now, we had to make sure that this client would qualify and meet all the markers for this guarantee. Now, I was a little bit apprehensive because he only has his child once a week. It's about 14% of the year if you run into the statistics that way. So look, there's 8 lenders that are able to lend within this scenario, eight reputable or significant lenders that we would choose to use. I reached out to all of them to try and qualify what, if any, requirement there is for how much care you need to have as a single parent to qualify for the 2% deposit. Now, no one really knew the answer. I got some vague answers, definitely got nothing definitive. Went back to Housing Australia, which is the organisation that controls the government guarantees. They directed me back to the bank again. Now, I didn't accept answers like I think and probably. One of the lenders particularly said, I think it would really need to at least be 50-50 share custody. As soon as someone says I think, it means I don't know. So obviously I pushed more. Look, the end result is there was no requirement for the amount of days that he had to be in care of his child. He just had to be a single parent that does have some care of his child. So this client, the difference now for this client is instead of being limited to buying a $400,000 single bedroom unit, he can now buy a $500,000 two-bedroom unit, most likely for $500,000, and also only use 10 grand of his savings towards that purchase. So post-settlement, he's going to have 10 grand spare. So for those of you that have bought your first home, half the excitement is buying the couch, buying the bed, buying the fridge, buying the TV, whatever it is part of the excitement. Well, now he's going to be able to play a part in that excitement, experience that excitement. So he's absolutely stoked. I'm really happy that I've been able to provide a solution that is greater than what he was already aware of. And that's just one example of something that can be unturned when you come to me and tell me a scenario. I'm listening to things that you may not be aware of. It may be the opposite. There may be an issue within your situation that means we really don't want to go to this lender because their policy doesn't support your particular scenario. But Bank B over here does support that. So just one practical example there, guys. If you'd like to reach out, please click the link below, and I hope to meet you soon. Thank you, guys. Bye.